Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Game of Thrones podcast. I'm your host, Carmine of RedTeamReview, and I'm joined here once again by substitute teacher Trey, the explainer. Hello, Mr. Trey.
I'm happy to be here. And this is the substitute teacher.
I like how people were calling you. Did you see those comments of people calling you substitute teacher Trey? Yeah. For those of you wondering, Preston is quite busy, actually, so he will not be able to join us for this. And for those of you wondering, episodes 6 and 7, yes, I tried to record with my friend Joker, who I love. However, unfortunately, he had maracas going on in the background, and yeah, we had to. We could not do that. But hopefully next time we'll have Mr. Joker on, and he can give us his takes as well. Unfortunately, Preston and many other YouTubers I know, whether it's like time differences or they have working for the government to destabilize southeastern countries, like this is sometimes certain things get in the way of recording. But no, thank you for being with me, Trey. And as always, guys, we're available on SoundCloud and iTunes. I think we are. I don't know. I may have gotten suspended on there. I think I might have gotten suspended on there. Maybe. Well, let me get back to you guys on that. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But we're available on YouTube, of course. So, leave that like and comment and all that stuff. And yes, because we did not have a podcast last week, we'll be covering 6 and 7 today. And yeah, Trey, thank you for being with me here. Are you ready to get into this?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So let's start with episode 6, The Smallfolk. I was actually not too big of a fan of it because I felt this episode had a lot of stuff just put in here from other episodes. And I'll go into why. So let me read the synopsis here. Jason Lannister leads his army to the Golden Tooth, which I thought was pretty cool. It's the opening thing where the Lannisters and they have a caged lion for some reason.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. They're gonna fight with them. They're gonna use the caged lion in the battle or something because there's like some Egyptian pharaohs apparently did that, so maybe they're kind of inspired by real history there. Yeah,
that's gonna be so much good. CGI to fucking unleash a goddamn lion on the Rivermen because holy shit. But a buddy of mine was asking me why do they bring a lion? Well, they're the Lannisters, and that's pretty much all you need to know. That's pretty much it. But no, we got to see the Golden Tooth finally, because in the books they always mention the Golden Tooth. It comes up fairly often. It's kind of like a pathway into the Westernlands, and we finally get to see it here. More minor houses that are sworn to other great houses. I love seeing that stuff because in the previous episode 5 we saw Mallister, Piper, and I think I forgot the other one. Yeah, no, and they're sworn to the Riverlands. I love seeing stuff like that.
I love seeing that stuff too, because like I think of the final season of Game of Thrones where they had that like epic Great Council or whatever, and you don't even know what like the 3 other guys' houses are. They're not even like the writers didn't even write down what those are, and then here you're like, yes. We're getting so many minor houses. I can read those sigils and know who they are.
Because they put their fucking sigils on their gorgets. Am I saying that word right? Gorgets?
Or gorgets.
Gorgets, thank you. Yeah, but like Oscar Tully put his like the trout on his gorgets. So and in Game of Thrones, the only minor houses we ever see are those sworn to House Stark. Like fucking you got Mormonts and Umber and Karstark and so forth, and a bunch of like random made up ones. But no, I love seeing that here. That one was great. And then we get another small council scene with Aemond. I have to ask you this. Do you feel like Aemond is becoming way too much of a fucking anime villain now? Like before it was a meme, and now it's just he just feels like a villain now, like an actual anime villain.
Yeah, and it's weird how quickly his change happened, because okay, I was thinking beginning of the season, they tried to save Aemond, right? They're like, oh, it was an accident that he killed that kid, killed Luke, and they were trying to redeem his character, like he's not actually that evil, even though everybody thinks he's evil. And then like for some reason, I don't even know when the change happened, he's just anime villain. Yeah, he's killing his brother, he's in the council and he's like yelling at everybody. Because I'm trying to think, is this the council meeting where he Lares is trying to like manipulate him and he just like sees right through it?
Yeah,
he is. I think he is like anime villain. Like he's less interesting now because he's not, I don't know, he doesn't feel that complex or deep. He's just kind
Someone
of
is going to try countering you by saying, well, power corrupts. Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, I think my issue is also the actor's voice. So the episode opens up with him going, send word to the Prince Regent that we will move when he joins us on Vhagar. And then the scene cuts back to Aemon reading that message, and he goes, he dares to summon me. He sounds like a Power Rangers villain. He really does.
He sounds like the English dub of like a My Hero Academia villain or something like that. Like, wow, I hate you. You are like, you're right. He does.
During the Rook's Rest battle, when he's about to burn Aegon, he goes, Dracarys. It's like my man needs like a fucking Auricolo or something for his throat. Holy shit! Why do you sound like that? Also, we get a scene before I move off Aemon. Him relieving Alicent of whatever her job was. What is her she's just advisor to the king?
Yeah, I think it's weird that she's on the small council to begin with. Like, she's like surprised she's dismissed, but like she doesn't really have a title. I guess she's the regent or queen mother or something, or king mother or something like that.
Queen dowager?
Queen dowager, yeah. Like, I don't know how much advice she'd be supplying, you know?
That's why I thought it was so weird that Rhaenyra sneaks into King's Landing to have a meeting with her in episode 3. Like, what power does Alicent have at all now? Even back during episode, even in season 1, when like before Aemon kills Luke, what power did Alicent even have back then? Everyone was kind of working against her.
Right. What power has she ever really had over her sons? Either, because she, I don't know, it doesn't seem like she had much control over her sons, period, to begin with.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I also want to bring up Rhaenyra on that topic because apparently Sir Steffan Darkland had a Targaryen, pretty much a princess at that point. It was a Targaryen princess, Ariana Targaryen, which that does not exist. That's not a thing. I feel like this is an attempt to do Ed Sheeran for House of the Dragon.
I saw people complaining about this too, where they call her a princess, but if you plot it out on a timeline, it's probably before the conquest of Westeros, like Aegon's conquest. So like she probably wouldn't be a princess unless like they used that title even before they were kings and stuff. But it's fine. You're right. You're right that it is an Ed Sheeran situation where they're like integrating their own character. Well, and even in the show continuity, there's that scene, if you remember, at Joffrey's funeral in the Sept or whatever, where Tywin's talking to Tommen, and he mentions several kings. Like he mentions, I think, Jaehaerys. I think he mentions Baelor, and then he mentions like Otho or something like that, like a made-up Targaryen king that never existed, or at least never existed in like the show in the book continuity. So they do make up stuff from time to time. I'm trying to think what, I don't know, Tywin, what it was, because I remember what it was, and people were like, what, who the heck is Otho, like Targaryen or whatever. Oh gosh, yeah.
I have the scene right here.
Good.
Tywin says to Tommen, what makes a good king what's a good king's single most important quality? Tommen goes, holiness? Yes. Baelor the Blessed was holy and pious. He built this sept. He also named a 6-year-old boy Hype Septim because he thought the boy could work miracles. He ended up fasting himself into an early grave because food was of this world, and this world was sinful. Tommen says, justice? Yes, a good king must be just. Horus the First was just. Everyone applauded his reforms. Nobles and commoners alike. He was murdered in his sleep after less than a year by his own brother. Was that truly just of him to abandon his subjects to an evil he was too gullible to recognize? Yeah, I don't know who Horus the First was, unless he's talking about Horus, Aegon's brother?
Yeah, his like half brother, Horus Baratheon, like the head of House Baratheon, but he never was king, is the thing.
So
yeah, well, it's weird. Why make up because there's plenty of them. There's plenty of Targaryen kings. I don't know why the scriptwriter decided to just make up their own king there. Because you could have said like, I don't know, what was it, just? Like, I don't know, I'm thinking of like people called Jaehaerys just, I guess. Like, and you could say like, oh, he was not able to stop the Dance of the Dragons or something like that. He was just, but he did, I don't know, something. I don't know. You could make up something. You could make, or for some of the future rulers like that we don't know anything about, like, I don't know, Maelor or whatever. Maekar. Like we know nothing about like Maekar's reign or anything, or I don't know, Daeron the second. I don't know, something like that. You could figure out something, but I guess they decided that. So this is a situation like that where they are. What is her name? Ariana
Targaryen. I looked it up. There's no Ariana Targaryen. I'm assuming it's the show like somewhat giving an invitation to Ariana Grande. I think. I'm just assuming that.
Why?
Why? I don't know. Maybe there's a person on the cast who really likes Ariana Grande, like how Maisie Williams really loved Ed Sheeran.
Oh my god. That's so fucking stupid that it's just like, yeah, she's a fan of him, so let's get him on the show and give him like this scene where his face is there. And then kill him, right? Or castrate him, whatever they did to that character, apparently.
By the way, we were on Alicent. She actually had a good scene this episode 6, where she's talking about Daeron. And I like sad reality of how Daeron, according to Gwaine, is very kind and also the only son she'd never raised. So...
Yeah, I that scene with Gwaine, Hightower, and her I think that's like the best. I thought that was the best scene in the episode because they're pretty solid actors, and I don't know.
Really, that was your favorite scene, not the Mysaria Rhaenyra kiss?
Oh, okay. I forgot that this was that episode. I was like, right on, go Rhaenyra. Oh yeah, it kind of felt a little random, but okay.
Well, they were trauma bonding, and like you're talking, and Mysaria is talking about incest, and you're talking about incest to the wrong person because the Targaryens are very horny for that. But there was a theory that people were putting out, and I thought about it at first because Mysaria historically in the source material was always Daemon's Daemon's for lack of a better term, lackey. But I don't mind them switching it up a bit. However, the theory that people were putting forth is that Mysaria is playing Rhaenyra.
Oh, like Lady Merryweather with Cersei?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And people was it Preston? Preston asked me, did I feel like the chemistry in the scene? I was like, yeah, I kind of did.
Really?
I did feel the chemistry. Yeah, in that scene in particular, but no other scene before then, like, I don't know, just her like complimenting her. Like it's funny because at the beginning of the season we were joking about Jason and what's his name? Something Stark?
Oh, Cregan Stark?
Cregan Stark having like chemistry and like, oh yeah, they should kiss, like you can ride my dragon or something like that. And then like it's funny that we were joking about that because I joked about it in this scene and they actually did it. I was like, oh my.
To be fair to the people saying that they didn't have chemistry, kind of yes. Remember, Rhaenyra's whole arc this entire season, for the most of it, is her just like trying very hard to make sure that like this is something that she really wants. All out war. There's no turning back. We need to be super duper sure. And all her counselors are like, short of bad-mouthing her, they're disrespecting her, they're doing this, and this.
Yeah.
They're questioning her, and they have their own reasons, and some of those reasons are valid. But if you think about it, Mysaria is the only person not giving Rhaenyra shit for any of the stuff she's doing, and outright helping her do some of those things. So to me, it made sense.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. Where like I really understood why she felt that way because like everybody's shit, like her whole council, including her son, is like constantly shitting on her any chance they can get, and it's like so frustrating. And I get it that she's so frustrated for somebody to actually be like, no, you're doing the right thing, and don't listen to them. Like that she feels in that moment where she embraces her and stuff. It's like, yeah, I get that. That was really like I felt that. So I thought it was good. I know a lot of people had a whole bunch of problems on. Didn't like Saudi Arabia like downvote this episode or something?
Yeah.
Isn't that like
they were okay with the child killing, and they were okay with all the other like crazy. They were okay with the incest and all that, but like the lesbian stuff, no.
That's always weird to me because you're right, and I saw people complaining about it on Twitter too. Like I don't know, people that are right wing or whatever, or who were like anti-woke or whatever. Like, this is Game of Thrones you're talking about. In Game of Thrones, like, yeah, you should kind of expect like, I don't know, lesbian kissing on Game of Thrones. It's like a staple, It's what that's what you expect.
They were trying to because the actress for Rhaenyra, Emma Darcy, does they them pronouns. Whenever like anything pronoun, the right always gets very upset. They tried to like latch on to the interview with the Mysaria actress, where she said that in the script, Rhaenyra was not supposed to kiss Mysaria. It was supposed to be somewhat of a tease. But apparently Rhaenyra the actress just went for it. And yeah, so I don't mind. Fuck it. In episode 7, I wanted to go right back to it, but that's just me. I have no problem with that at all. To me, it was, of course, Rhaenyra would be somewhat closer to Mysaria. Mysaria is the only person glazing her up. Everybody else is just talking shit to her. So, of course. But, this episode,
she's like her only friend. She's like her
pretty
only,
much
like true friend, and her husband left her. She feels like totally alone, and I get it. Like, and that happens where people like are at a low point in their life, and they have like a friend, and that'll happen where you mix like the friendship and that type of support there with like a romantic feeling as well. Like I don't know, it's pretty common for people to feel that way. So.
100%.
Yeah. I thought it was good. Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I wanted more of it.
In the scene where the door opened, I thought it was gonna be Daemon. It was gonna be Daemon opening the door. Like he's like, "I'm back. I finally made my decision to support you." And he's like, "Whoa."
I'll put money. Season 3, we get like a threesome between them. I'll put fucking money on that.
They should. Why not? Fuck it. Like, why not?
So, what else happened in this episode? I feel like a lot of stuff did happen. On the topic of Mysaria, we got to talk about how the Master of Whispers for House of the Dragon are fucking dog shit compared to the Master of Whispers in Game of Thrones. Larys is supposed to be the guy.
He's awful. He's awful at his job.
He's terrible. Daemon snuck in out of King's Landing and then arranged the assassination attempt. Rhaenyra snuck in and out. Mysaria still has her own spies and is putting out propaganda. My man, what the fuck are they sent little boats with supplies from Dragonstone all the way to King's Landing. How did you not catch any of this?
Right. Like your Mysaria, like it's not that Mysaria is like good, like a really good Master of Whispers. It's that Larys is like a really, really bad one. Because I'm thinking about the next episode where, what is it? The Justiciar, what's his name? Ironrod is like the one telling. He's the one telling Larys about like the dragon seed situation. Like, why is he of all people? What? He's like the judge. He's like the justice guy. Why does he know about that? And Larys is like, oh, I'll tell the king. Because like, okay, earlier you could at least make the excuse that Larys is maybe like a double agent, you know. But they've kind of like undid that, where Larys is, at least in this episode. This is the episode where Aegon finally wakes up and Larys is like talking to him and giving him that like pep talk. Where you see that Larys is actually he actually is on Aegon's side. Like he is giving Aegon like honest, heartfelt advice on like to live and to become king and stuff like that. And maybe, I don't know, like I thought before, okay, maybe the excuse is that like Larys was the one that was playing both sides and he was a bad Master of Whispers just like to enable Rhaenyra or something like that. But no, like, yeah, he actually is a bad Master of Whispers is what I'm getting at.
Oh, he's fucking terrible. And whatever happened to, something had to have happened in the writer's room, because season 1, he was such a creep. And then season 2, he has no scenes with Alicent at all? He just latches onto Aegon?
He has one scene with Alicent, and she doesn't remark on that he's a creep. Remember? Mm-hmm. Like where they're talking to each other and she's like, whatever Viserys's intentions were, it died with him or whatever. Like, right. It's too late to undo. And like they don't mention that he's like a total creep that gets off to her feet. Like that's just left unremarked. They're like their relationship acts like they're just business, like it's totally normal. It's very strange, yeah, that they totally undid the creep angle. Like it's not been mentioned, and he doesn't act like a creep. He acts like a pretty kind guy this season, which is weird.
Oh yeah, him excuse me, him telling Aegon, you survived Dragonfire, they'll write you into legends. That was, my man's a dude, my man's a bro. He's latched on to Aegon, but like I'm assuming because Aegon gave him that position and like lifted him up, like okay, fine. But this loyalty, I feel like we should have had more of an explanation as to why he's so loyal.
Yeah, because I thought he was earlier in the season, and I think this was what intended is that he was manipulating Aegon. Like Aegon was the easier to manipulate, and Aemond saw right through it, so he latches onto Aegon. But the scene in this episode where he has that like heart to heart with Aegon about being a disabled person and what that's like in their world, it feels deeper. Like he actually does like him, like and wants him to succeed and stuff.
I agree with that, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah, like he's not just using him as a pawn. Like now he actually does care about Aegon, and wants him. I don't know. He sees a bit of himself in Aegon and that kind of thing. Yeah. So
that's actually a very good point. The other thing that happened in this episode, and before I go into this, you're familiar with Preston's genetics of the dragons and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, because I'm not familiar with it much. We got to talk about Sea Smoke bonding with Adam instead of Steffon Darkland. So they both have, I guess Steffon Darkland had a drop of dragon blood, and this is a CK2 Game of Thrones mod reference, just a drop of dragon blood. We used to think that would be enough to tame the dragon, but I guess not. Some people are saying that Laenor is dead, and therefore that is why a new rider can ride the dragon. I believe that Laenor is alive because the storyline is going to need him in the future to help Alan find the missing children, if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. I like that as a to bring him back. I like that as to bring him back to find the kids in Essos. That would be kind of a good redemption for his character too.
100%, and a way to bring him back. 100%. But I think Laenor is still alive, but the bond is just like a broken Wi-Fi signal. So Sea Smoke is trying to find someone close enough to Laenor with his blood and psychic connection that it's still there. I believe if Laenor was dead, maybe Steffon Darkland could have ridden Sea Smoke, but because Laenor is still out there, then that's why Sea Smoke went specifically for Adam of Hull. And I didn't mind it. It's just the one thing that annoys me is the behind-the-scenes stuff where Ryan Condal says, we don't know how the bond between dragons and its rider works. And I think George R.R. Martin himself in a blog post said, yeah, we're going to explore that more in Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like about it is that just Sea Smoke just like sought him out. And people are pulling like how like religious people go like the Lord works in mysterious ways, like that's kind of how like it's not an explanation, it's just kind of like don't think about it because we're not going to explain it yet. Like Sea Smoke just randomly decided to choose this one guy. In the next episode, it's implied that his mom, right, is a Targaryen, or maybe was part Targaryen or something.
Yes, that's what it was heavily implied, because I guess you have to have. This is why I asked you about Preston's genetics of the dragons and whatnot. Like, I guess you have to have a specific amount of blood, because in that very next episode, episode 7, which we'll get into in a minute, Corlys says to Alan, even though we're Valyrians, we're no dragon lords. But for hundreds of years, the Velaryons and Targaryens both have, like, intermarried, so surely you have enough Targaryen blood.
Like, Aegon the Conqueror is he part Velaryon? Like, I think he's, like, half Velaryon. Yeah, so. He's half Velaryon. Like, his mother was a Velaryon. And the Targaryens and the Velaryons intermarried a ton. So you'd expect there to be some, like, Aenys. Okay, Aenys married a Velaryon. Yeah, they should. The Velaryons should have dragon rider blood in them. Like, the problem is that our sample size is so small. Like, that's the thing, is like, who can ride a dragon and how much blood is needed, like how much Targaryen ancestry is needed to ride a dragon is hard to parse out. Because I commented under Preston's thing. Because in this is this the episode where they were like, maybe it was the episode before where Jason and Rhaenyra are talking,
and he calls them mongrels.
No, that's the next one. But the one before this, where they're like Rhaenyra is like the blood's too thin or something.
Right.
What is it? And I was like calculating, and it's kind of funny for Rhaenyra to say that because she's only 2/3 Targaryen if you look at the family tree.
Right, and let's remember, Ryan Condal is fun. I love Ryan Condal throwing book fans a bone every now and then with some of his his knowledge of the. You can tell he's a fan, but he's at the same time he's also fucks with the source material in a sense, and it's okay to fuck with it because it's its own separate thing, not a full 1-to-1 adaptation. But technically, Rhaenyra should be mixed race if you think about it, because Jaehaerys, I believe, was half Velaryon, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Jaehaerys himself, that we see in episode 1 of season 1, that dude looks like the whitest person that has ever existed. He looks like the blueprint for white people. So, I don't know.
And Rhaenyra's own children are 1/3, or what is it? It's like about 1/3 Targaryen, because they're full-blooded on their father's side, at least in the show. With House Strong, so it's running pretty thin even in her kids, but that's implying that it's inherited in a specific way or something like that. That's the problem, is we don't know, our sample size is so small on what counts as who can actually be a dragon rider and how much Targaryen do you need to be, because Hugh Hammer in the next episode is revealed to be half. His mom was Sarah. So he's half.
I found your comment, by the way.
What did I say? I was trying to find it a second ago.
This was episode 5, just so you know. Let me see if I can.
Oh my God.
You said in episode. So you said this in Preston's House of the Dragon Watch, season 2, episode 5, The Regent. You said the quote unquote the blood may be too thin, and you said, Rhaenyra, your own mother was only half Targaryen. At best, your kids with Harwin are like 1/3 Targaryen. To which someone replied to you and says 3/8 Targaryen, which is slightly more than 1/3. But your point stands.
I was rounding down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is it's running pretty thin in her own kids, unless House Strong for some reason has dragon riding ancestry in their house, which makes no sense. Yeah. So at the very least, you only need to be 1/3 Targaryen is the thing in order to ride a dragon, because all her kids are dragon riders, right? Jace, Luke, they're both dragon riders, which I don't know, the chances of that happening would be pretty slim.
But also they had the advantage of having the dragon eggs in the cribs with them, because remember, Targaryens for the most part, I don't know if this is in the show as well. I feel like it is in the show as well. Maybe not, but remember in the source material how they say they put a dragon egg in the crib with the babies so they can bond super early?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's in the show continuity too. I'm pretty sure they brought it up at least once.
But how come they didn't put a dragon egg in Aemon's crib?
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So
maybe there weren't enough eggs or something like that. I don't know. That's a good point. The problem is I think George hasn't put this much thought into it either, so it's hard to say. That's the thing is, I don't know if George has really thought this through ancestry wise. And the thing is, the problem with Fire and Blood is that the ancestry of characters is often ambiguous. In the books, it's very unclear if Rhaenyra's kids are actually with Harwin Strong or not. It's kept very, very ambiguous. They very well could be Laenor's kids as well, and those were just lies. Well,
Mushroom tells us that there was a threesome in the source material, at least, between Rhaenyra, Laenor, and his lover. So something must have gotten in there somehow. Something.
George has this weird thing, and this is something he brings up with his gay characters a lot. That because it's brought up with Renly and what's her name? I'm really bad right now. Tyrell. The Tyrell girl, what's her name? Shoot.
Which one? Oh, Marjorie?
Character. Marjorie. Where Stannis is Marjorie's gonna stay a maid in your bed, Renly. It's kind of weird that Renly wouldn't even try, try to have a biological kid. There's things you can do, I don't know.
So I'm gonna be very real with you. Once upon a time, when I was in high school, I knew this one kid named Chris. Coolest fucking dude ever. And I asked him one time, because we were 14. I asked him, like, so Chris, so, like, you don't like girls? He goes, no. Have you tried? And he's like, yeah, I tried. It just couldn't. Like, and I asked him what happened. Well, I just couldn't get hard. Oh, well, like, have you tried doing it yourself and then, like, you know, trying to get in there? And he goes, yeah, it's just every time I would try to, like, you know, put it in, it just gets softer. Like, I don't find it attractive. And he goes, between us, I find it kind of gross. I'm like, oh,
okay.
I'm sorry to hear that. well now. So maybe that's the problem. Is just he can't.
Maybe that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just know historically, like, there's many, like, historical figures, like, where being gay you had to hide it or whatever, or where you had to have political marriages, because that's like the real Middle Ages. Like, there were so many political marriages and somebody's sexuality was, like, irrelevant, where they did have kids. Like, they would have kids. It would just, like, they would not stay with, like, they would not be like a regular thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, because George has this thing where his gay characters can never have kids. They can't have kids with a woman. They won't even try. I don't know. They should try, right? You could try, because in the show, don't they bring that up when on Renly's wedding night? Isn't Marjorie, like, really chill? She's like,
she turns around.
My brother
and she goes,
could come in.
Yeah. By the way,
like,
I think George, did confirm that Jace and Luke are bastards. So there's this. I've been saving this for quite some time. So give that a look-see.
Because I'm one of the people that are like, no, I don't believe Jace and Luke are actually bastards in the source material. I'm, like, in the minority.
Well, this is coming directly from George's mouth, unless this is really good AI.
Well, is this him talking about the show, though? Here's the thing: is the show and the books have different continuity. And what's in the show is not always what's in the books. Like, the books are purposefully kept ambiguous. What's the truth? But I guess this is George. So I'd want to know the context of that interview. I see what you mean, where he's like, yeah, she has 3 kids with him. All right, I guess. Okay, so yeah. Anyways, I don't know how we got on that. Like, the point is that her kids are 1/3 Targaryen. Like, it's running pretty thin by them, but they can still be. All 3 of them are dragon riders, right? Like, Joffrey's a dragon rider too.
Wait, no, this guy. Remember, this guy said 3/8 Targaryen.
Sorry, like, or 3/10 or something like that.
3/8.
Okay. 3/8. All right, they're 3/8 Targaryen, a little above 1/3. All right. So
and I messaged that guy. I said 3/8. How the fuck did you get to that conclusion? And someone else replied, 3 Targaryen grandparents out of a possible 8.
Okay.
It's so confusing, considering, like, all the bullshit.
So yeah, so at the very least, someone with 3/8 Targaryen ancestry can be a dragon rider. And in Rhaenyra's case, all 3 of her kids were dragon riders, and all 3 of them would have 3/8. So it can run pretty thin by the sounds of it. For people that don't know, I was a genetics major in college, so I know a little bit about genetics. And Preston had that Genetics of Dragons series. Where I think his, like, finding was that, like, he thinks that it's, like, an X-linked gene where it can only be inherited from the mom. But I don't know if George put that much thought into it, because it doesn't always work.
If that's true, then that makes the most sense that Sea Smoke would go for Adam. If his mom was like a Targaryen bastard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But who knows? That's the thing, is, like, I think George probably did not put that much thought into it, because he, I don't know, gets too crazy. George doesn't care about genetics that much, because we think about how inbred House Targaryen is, and how healthy they are relatively. Then again, this is a bit of a tangent too, where I was looking at the Ptolemies, which are, like, the historical royal house of Egypt that was pretty inbred. They're known for inbred, and they're the direct inspiration of House Targaryen. And they're about as inbred as the Targaryens were, or maybe less. I think Targaryens are less inbred than the Ptolemies, which is kind of funny if you look at their family tree. But there's not much evidence to show that they're physically sickly, like that the inbreeding did that much damage to them physically. So maybe they just got really lucky. That's the thing. Like, the thing is, inbreeding increases your chance of having, like, these bad recessive diseases and stuff being inherited, but it does not mean that it's like inevitable. Like it just means that your risk is increased. So maybe the Targaryens just are very, very lucky and avoided it. Anyways.
That's interesting. The Ptolemies didn't have, like, anybody with web feet or anything like that? Or any like...
No, like, that's the thing is historically, like, okay, for one thing, we know that they were not that infertile. Like, relative to other ancient royal families, they were really not that infertile. Like, they were just as fertile as, I'm thinking of, like, the Macedonian royal family that was contemporaneous with them. Like, I think one brother-sister couple had like 6 kids or something like that. Like it obviously didn't mess with their fertility. And then like we don't really hear that much about them being physically weird looking. Like we know that there's a couple Ptolemies that were fat, like morbidly obese, but that's like they were royalty in ancient times, and of course like you're gonna get like 1 or 2 that are gonna be fat because of lack of exercise or because they have so much food in front of them. So it's unclear if that's just environmental, like those examples could just be environmental. But besides that, there's not much evidence that they're physically, like weird, like physically like deformed or anything like that. But again, like the family tree is kind of incomplete. We don't know what happened to certain people at certain points because the sources are just murky. But like from like the evidence visible to us, there's not much evidence that the inbreeding led to them looking weird, besides like some of them being fat, which could just be environmental. Yeah. So
speaking of deformities, we got to talk about this deformity of a fucking storyline with Daemon. I had no problem with him and Harrenhal having these visions. I like Alice Rivers. I think she's a cool character, and but I feel as though this storyline has gone on 1 episode too long.
Yeah, it's just we're stuck in Harrenhal and nothing's happening. It's just like over and over. Daemon's having visions again and again. Nothing happens.
He's tripping on shrooms. He's fucking up the balance of the Riverlands, and that's an interesting storyline. I like that, but only for so long. It went on 1 episode too long. Which let's break into episode 7, the Red Sowing.
Yes.
Oscar Tully's grandfather finally dies. He finally comes in and he puts a stop to the storyline. And then Daemon is forced... Dude, it's real. I don't know if you've played like games like Mass Effect or... have you played the most recent Baldur's Gate 3?
Oh, are you talking about like where your actions have consequences?
Yeah,
like they remember this.
Yes, this really, or like Fallout or something like Skyrim.
The River Lords did not like that.
This really did feel like that. Yeah, like
like a Telltale game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's really felt like that. I did like Daemon's visions were trippy and crazy, but Alice Rivers, she really, for me at least, her and specifically Simon Strong really held all of that together. I really like Simon Strong. Like I love how the
Simon
fandom...
Strong actor wasn't that good, like this plotline would be like even more boring. Like because I was getting kind of bored with the Daemon plot. Like I think you're right that it was 1 episode too many where it felt like we were just killing time. But you're right that like the Simon Strong actor's too fun and the Alice Rivers actress is too fun, that like they were the one thing that was keeping it from being like real people getting real bored, because they're fun. And the fandom loves Simon Strong. Like
that's such a nice welcoming surprise. I actually really like that the fandom is like rallying around Simon Strong. He's great. He's absolutely great. So I'm really happy about that. But man, it came to a very decent conclusion, and I love the Riverlands politics, all that stuff. I really like that. Awesome all around. And obviously episode 8 is when it ultimately ends, but this is kind of the end of like the Riverlands Harrenhal stuff, which okay, fine, but whew, fuck, man, it was rough. It was rough just because it went on a little too long. It was rough, but So, okay, the episode opens up with Rhaenyra confronting Adam of Hull, Seasmoke's new writer, who pledges fealty to her. I really like Adam of Hull because the actor
me too.
Has this happy to be here face. Have you ever seen the behind the scenes? He does. He has like this nice calming smile, like, hey guys, what's up? Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I'll join your side. Yeah, I got your back. He feels like that best friend that everyone should have because he's just so nice and friendly, and he remembers your birthday, and he sends you a card. That's what Adam of Hall feels like. And I think that's the actor, his personality coming through. Let me try and find this for you. House of the Dragon. Someone on the House of the Dragon subreddit, I got sent me Adam of Hall's actor. The dude went and found out every single person who was like an actor on the show, and he took a selfie with all of them, and he has just like this big goofy smile. I'm trying to find it. And he has like this big goofy smile that he's taking a selfie with everybody. And you know what? I kind of like that. It's very wholesome of him. He just seems like a wholesome guy.
Yeah, I found what he's. Yeah, I just looked up this actress name, Clint Liberty, and he's just all these pictures. He's just really happy to be there. yeah. All these behind the scene pics, him with Emma Darcy and what's his name, the sea snake actor.
Fuck, I forgot his name. But here's the subreddit where he's taking a picture with Emma Darcy, he's taking a picture with Olivia Cook, the Bela actress, the Corlys actors, with Otto Hightower, with the other two dragon seeds. He's with Aegon, he's with his stunt double, he's with Alan, and he's with Kristen Cole, he's with Matt Smith, and he's just, in every picture he's in, he just has this like smile, and it bleeds into his character that he's happy to be here, and that's infectious. I love it.
I like him with Ulf. I like this picture with him with Ulf, and Ulf has like his like mouth like as wide open as possible.
I love it. I think it's great. It's great. I absolutely love it. So good for I like the actor being here. I like that they cast him specifically. Very good casting. It sucks that it took so long for us to get this, because Alan and Adam both combined probably have like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of screen time in the entire series. And
they don't really do much in a lot of the screen time that they're given. Like I don't know, they just have kind of like normal mundane conversations in them. So yeah, I hope they give him more to do.
Don't do much, homie.
I guess
fucking
next season.
Alan and Corlys' scenes, 90% of them take place on the docks.
On the dock, yes. Instead of like the garden, you know, like how there was that garden in Game of Thrones. And be like, it's the docks, the high tide docks. Everybody's like, ugh. Driftmark dock scene.
Every fucking other episode they're on the docks, and like Corlys is trying to give Adam this job, Alan this job, and let me show you this picture real quick. I need to show you this. I put this in my review for episode 7. What the fuck is this stance? In my review, I said this is a stance of like a child who did not get the right toy in his Happy Meal. What is this stance? What the fuck is that?
What was this?
That's episode 7.
This is amazing. He's like, I did not get the Happy Meal. What do you mean the Happy Meal didn't come with a toy? Yeah, this is kind of a funny stance.
What is this? This is so rare. It reminds me of Jace's stance when Aemon is like talking shit to him. Look at Jace. What is that stance, my dude? What is that Uber driver haircut? Look at that. What the fuck is that?
I forgot Jace's shitty ass haircut in the first season and how awful his haircut is. Oh my gosh. And it's so funny because they let him use his regular hair this time and he looks so hot and handsome. Like, why did they not give him? Oh my god. Ace actor. Oh my gosh.
That's fucking true. Oh man, but no, the whole brothers. I love Adam. Alan needs more to do. Mike, I know he becomes very important later on, but fuck it,
Alan needs
man.
Way more to do next season. Cause he just did not do much. Like I think the only thing I can remember him doing was shaving his head, and he had that little white stubble.
Oh, speaking of it sucks that all of the characters who like had somewhat of some screen time, they would have had more screen time had all that screen time not went to Alicent having some kind of existential crisis, which I don't care about.
Because this episode was the famous Alicent lake scene.
It's right? Ophelia from Hamlet, or at least I thought that's where she was going. You know how Ophelia like drowns herself?
Yeah, that she was gonna drown herself, but she didn't. I saw people commenting that like, oh, that scene's supposed to be her taking her own life, but I did not get that at all because she spends all of it looking up at the sky.
Actually,
thought that was kind of silly.
a friend of mine who watches this, she told me, she was saying to me, and maybe other women in the comments can help me out here. She said to me, like, yeah, it's every woman's dream to just say fuck it and go into the woods and just stay there for a while contemplating life. I'm like, huh? Okay. Really? Like, yeah, don't. She goes, don't boys have like that whole like mentality of where they just want to say fuck it and go into the woods and just like hunt and fish and just be a man? Like, I guess I like my AC and not having vaguely like mosquitoes all over my face, but I guess that's a thing some guys like. I don't know, maybe.
I like going on road trips, I guess. Like, yeah. Sometimes I want to leave my job and just have a vacation. Like, that's just a vacation.
Right?
Like. Yeah, everybody wants a vacation.
But on your favorite character, real quick, let me get back to him. Jace, calling the dragon seeds mongrels. My man. Oh, yeah. It's kind of a...
He's got an insecurity.
But he has some good points, though. He has some good points. What if those dragon seeds want to realize they can, use the dragons to take over the kingdoms themselves? What if the dragon seeds decide to betray Rhaenyra? What if the dragon seeds calls into question his legitimacy as well? And he has a point about that.
Yeah. And I watched the behind the episode or whatever afterwards, and Ryan Condal, I think, explained it a little bit more where, like, now that like a peasant can have a dragon, like, it calls into question everything, because like it's like giving a peasant a nuclear weapon. Like, now they're like, they have power, and power's not inherited anymore. It's something that anybody can have. Like, it's not restricted to nobility, so it could really mess up the noble structure and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that's the whole point, is that if anybody can have a dragon, that was the point of Nettles. If anybody, even somebody that doesn't have any Targaryen ancestry can have a dragon, then like it calls into question everything, that like this whole feudal structure shouldn't exist. So yeah.
Speaking of Nettles, real quick, I think it's somewhat confirmed now that Nettles is been combined with Rhaena, which Gonzo. I would hope not, because first off, we were talking about this before we started recording. Jane Arryn is pissed because, and someone was explaining this to me, and this is true. So Jane Arryn's story is that her entire rule has been contested by other House Arryn claimants, and she'd had to put down like people after people, like constantly trying to challenge her. So she is about no nonsense bullshit. And when Rhaena first arrives in the Vale, Jane Arryn's like, well, I was promised the dragon to defend the Vale, because the Vale is one of the most heavily defended places in the Seven Kingdoms, and it's purely on terrain, right?
Yeah, it can change its terrain at will. It's like crazy. The whole castle can like reform into different shapes.
For those of you who don't know what Trey's talking about, is the Vale, the Eyrie, specifically the House Arryn Castle, in seasons 1, 4, and I think 4 of Game of Thrones, it looked vastly different, and then it also looked vastly different in season 2 of House of the Dragon, which, yeah, that's true. But Jane Arryn is pissed. Like, she was promised a dragon, and Rhaena was like, well, you technically got dragons, you just didn't specify what size. And Jane's like, fuck you. So Jane sends Rhaena off, but not before Rhaena runs off, and she's going to go look for this sheep-stealing dragon. This was somewhat leaked a couple of months ago by a Twitter user who I actually follow and talk to privately every now and then, and they told me they didn't mean to like say that Rhaena and Nettles are combining, because they don't know. They just used the word sheep-stealing dragon because that's what someone told them. So it's quite...
I think it's pretty clear that they've been combined. Because like when I saw the burned sheep, I was like, yeah, this is what they're doing with Sheep Stealer. And the fact that, okay, last season, if you listened carefully, Daemon brings up that there were 3 wild dragons in addition to Vermithor and Silverring, which is accurate to the books. But the wild dragons have become suspiciously absent, besides the one in the Vale. Like, nobody has brought up that cannibal... what's the other one? Grey Ghost and Sheep Stealer exist on Dragonstone. Like, that's just been removed. Even though Daemon implied their existence, like at the last episode last season, they're just gone. So, and then now we have this wild dragon in the Vale that eats sheep, and I'm like, okay, this is Sheep Stealer. Like, they've decided to move that plot line to the Vale. Yeah, I think they're gone. We're not going to see the cannibal.
Which is funny because George R. R. Martin himself complained about this. He complained about how his dragons, they like to say around like certain...
Oh, yeah.
Did you read that Not a Blog post? Like, here be dragons?
Yes. This Not a Blog post that contradicts like George is like, because it reminds me of his Castle Rock blog post a while ago, like maybe like a year or 2 years ago, where he like gave this like massive in-depth breakdown of Castle Rock and what its geography is like and what inspired it in real life. And it's obvious, like, I don't know, to me, I read that and I'm like, oh, he's doing that because he put so much thought into this, and it's never going to be really shown or explained in the source material, in like the books and the actual books. So he's like kind of doing like the Tolkien kind of thing, like the letters of Tolkien, where he's like clearing up the last bit of the lore that's never going to actually be in the main source material. So he did that with the dragons, and he was like giving all this like in-depth lore of like how the Targaryen dragons work or whatever, and it makes no sense. It's like the one thing he's like, they love to stay near volcanoes, and then that they don't roam. Like they don't roam. And that is totally contradicted by his own writings, and then also the show now, where there's a wild dragon in the Vale, where I don't think there's any volcanic activity. I don't think we're shown anything. Like, obviously something has to be creating the mountains, but I don't think there's any it's known to be volcanic at all. Like, I think only Dragonstone and Valyria are really the volcanic areas in all of his world. So it's a little weird.
But George also contradicted himself in his own work, Silverwing. In Fire and Blood, we know that Silverwing...
Oh, yeah, because Silverwing goes to to Red Lake later.
Exactly, so...
Which is the opposite of a volcanic area. Unless it's a volcanic crater, but it would be dormant, so...
So George is out of his fucking mind, and, but some people are saying this was George trying to preemptively warn us about some of the plot lines this season. I keep seeing people... someone replied to my tweet right now about how... George was trying to warn us about this season when he said he wouldn't be joining the season 3 writing room. That don't mean dick, my dude. That means nothing. That doesn't mean anything. That just mean that, like...
That means he's working on wild cards.
Did you know that there was like a wild cards announcement that he made, but it was only on Facebook? I didn't see it anywhere else.
Because it's presented by him. He didn't even do editing in this. See, I don't think that like he was like dissing the show or anything like that. He did diss the show with the sigil. Like, that's the one thing he's complaining about, but I don't think he's dissing the show.
I don't think George hasn't. You know what? Now I don't know, because what we know, I don't want to get into the episode 8 leaks bullshit, and I won't, but I'll just say this. Yeah. I wish I knew George's opinions on the matter regarding the decisions they're making, especially with Nettles. George put Nettles in there for a reason, and you and Preston have touched on this ad nauseum, and you just talked about it like 10 minutes ago of why Nettles is important. So potentially, this is why I'm not sure if they are blending in Nettles with Rhaena, so it's still a possibility that we may get in season 3 Nettles coming in, but...
Yeah, like in order for Nettles to come in, like I feel like Rhaena would have to die, and then like this random character comes in and steals her plot line. Because right now in this episode they hinted that Rhaena is going to hunt down the wild dragon, because her whole thing this whole entire season has been that she feels inadequate because she's not a dragon rider. Everybody else around her, all her sister's a dragon rider, her cousins are dragon riders, and she feels kind of useless. And she had that scene with Rhaenyra and her sister where she's like, she's sending me away because I don't have a dragon. I'm the least important one of you. But then again, what are you trying to say with that? Because I thought what they were trying to do with her character is that she doesn't need a dragon to be useful. Like, that was her whole thing. She was taking care of Rhaenyra's children and keeping them safe in Essos. Like, that's a super important task. But now I feel like they're going to give her a dragon, so it kind of undoes that character arc or development or whatever, where it's like, no, actually she got a dragon, so she doesn't need to feel insecure anymore about it. It's like somebody feeling ugly and there's a plot line of them trying to be okay with them being ugly and that looks aren't everything, and then it's resolved by them getting a plastic surgery and becoming beautiful. Like it's like, what are you trying to say there? So I don't know. I guess I should wait until her plot line's ended to judge it. But yeah, it does not seem like Sheep Stealer is going to be in the show, or Nettles is going to be in the show. It looks like Sheep Stealer will be in the show, but without Nettles.
We'll have to see.
We'll see.
Fellow YouTuber Dragon Demands swore up and down he found the Nettles actress, and the actress herself replied to his comment on Twitter saying, "Oh no, that's not going to happen. Sorry, I'm not in the franchise. I'm sorry about that." And she replied to his kind of like, "Okay, I mean, at least there it is." But no. So what else happened in this episode? We had the dragon seeds showing up, the red sowing.
Yeah, this was the big dragon seed episode.
Rhaenyra brought all of these people to have them killed, and she almost had Ulf and Hugh Hammer killed as well, because back me up on something. In my review,
yes.
My episode 7 review, I mentioned how in the source material, Reading Fire and Blood, the red sowing felt like it was Mortal Kombat. Did you ever watch Mortal Kombat, the first movie from the 90s?
Yeah. I saw a little clip of that recently.
So I wonder if it's because I mentioned it. In the first Mortal Kombat film, remember how when they get to the island and then they're just kind of walking around until a ninja finds them and they fight to the death?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I read. That's kind of what I took away from the red sowing in the source material, was that people went to the island and they were allowed to go to the Dragonstone where they all are, and they're allowed to try to do like some kind of Pokemon Safari Zone like thing where they go to attempt to claim the dragon.
Yes.
Because why the fuck would you have a dragon?
It was entirely voluntary.
Yes. And not only that, Rhaenyra's maids, her squires, some of her knights all attempted to do so, not just the dragon seeds.
Yeah, and it wasn't like this thing where they had like this weird orientation and then they were shoved into a room, all 50 of them all together for some reason to go one by one in like a line to try. Like in the books I interpreted that like it was like anybody show up and you go into the cave whenever you want to. We're not going to push you in, and you can go at any time you want. Like it was the doors are open. And we'll let anybody in so long as and then it's your choice. You're risking your life. It's your choice. And I really did not like this scene where they had all the all the dragon seeds, and they forced them into the open cave room, and all 50 of them were standing in a line, and we're gonna one by one walk up to Vermithor. I thought that was so stupid. I was like, why? why not have them do it like separately? Like, why have all of them in the room just so we can have like the dragon freak out and shoot at them and stuff? I thought that was silly.
The dragon freak out, potentially wound Rhaenyra as well, because she's there overlooking the whole situation.
She's overlooking it.
I thought it was like chaotic and almost horror-esque with the dragons like hunting the people and eating them and burning them. Like, that was cool, but like, when you think about it from a logistical standpoint, that's fucking stupid, man. That's so dumb.
Yeah, I thought it was contrived for like the sake of having a cool set piece, to have a lot of extras get killed and stuff. Because I would have rather had it the way that, because I thought of like Daemon's scene last season where he meets Vermithor, and he's in like the complete dark. He's like goes deep underground to where the dragons are hanging out. And he has his torch, and it's just him soloing the dragon, having a conversation with it, and it's intimidating. It's completely dark, and yeah, I like that more, and it makes more sense to have that where like, because the thing is when you have like 50 people, an animal is going to get freaked out, like a horse is going to get freaked out, and so like a dragon will get freaked out. So like I don't know why you would have like tons of them all at once. It was contrived just for the body count. Like you can just tell like they just wanted a high body count this episode. So we're gonna do something that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know.
You're
but
not
the
wrong.
Scene itself is cool.
The scene itself was cool, but like, did you get that feeling as well reading the source material that it was kind of like Mortal Kombat or Pokemon Safari Zone, where people would arrive on the island, they would be allowed to set foot on the island and go out and try to tame the dragons. Yeah. Like, did you get that feeling too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got that feeling too. That it was like the dragons are in a cave, and you're allowed to go in the cave, and like anybody's allowed to show up, at any time, and you're allowed to go in the cave and face the dragon whenever you want to. Yeah, like a Mortal Kombat Pokemon situation. It wasn't like we're gonna give you this orientation where Rhaenyra gives a speech, and then you're like a class, like, because this felt like a classroom situation. I don't know. It was kind of weird. Yeah.
I want to touch on something we were discussing about episode 6. I want to touch on it here. Mysaria. I'm so deathly afraid that Mysaria is one of those fuck the elites and freedom to the proletariat types of character, where she is purposely leading Rhaenyra down the path of destruction because she wants to bring down the patriarchy or the system and uplift the small folk. Because remember, that was her whole plot line in season 1, was she was dealing with Otto towards the end because she wanted the small folk to have more protection, more safety, more freedoms from the elites doing bad stuff to them, like Aegon was, right? So I'm so afraid that they're going to try to make her some Machiavellian-style strategist who is just lying and bullshitting Rhaenyra the entire time so she could end the Targaryen dynasty and their rule and chokehold over the country and somewhat try to uplift the small folk, because that would be so fucking stupid. I
would think that's stupid too, yeah.
I hope that's not the case, not like because remember, whenever Mysterious talks to Rhaenyra, she almost never criticizes her. She almost just like fluffs her up a little bit, like, you did something that no one ever thought possible. And then in the beginning of the episode, they have a conversation where Rhaenyra's like, let's raise an army of bastards. It's like, okay, but careful, you know, this could go bad very quickly. And careful. And the episode ends with probably one of the coolest scenes in the entire franchise. Vhagar, who's been this looming shadow over Rhaenyra's rule and anything she can do, flying to Dragonstone, being lured by Ulf and Silverwing, which, by the way, Silverwing, amazing design. I loved it.
I like the design, yeah. I like Vermithor's design, too.
Oh, all of them look
like
unique.
This the CG is great. I don't know, they all look unique. I love that. And we saw, like, the eggs. Like, Silverwing had eggs. Remember he stepped on him?
Like, yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, I guess. Like we got a little bit of, like, I don't know, that Silverwing is like an egg layer. Like maybe they already talked about. But yeah, there's they lure Vhagar, and then Aemon chickens out. He's like, I'm getting out of here.
To be fair, I think Aemon could probably fuck them up. I'll tell you why. Because those guys are newly seasoned dragon riders. I think if you can call them dragon riders, they're more like dragon passengers, because they don't know, like Rhaenys had been flying Rhaenys and Daemon have been flying their dragons for decades. These guys have been doing it for 5 minutes. I think a seasoned dragon rider could probably take out 3 unseasoned dragon riders. I understand that, like, the more the merrier and overwhelming him with force, and they probably would defeat him, but I think he'd wipe them out. I think he'd wipe most of them out. I feel like the only way the 3 of them could fuck up, or the 4 of them could fuck up Aemon, is if they got a lucky shot on him. Skill-wise, I think he still wins every time, even against all 3.
Yeah, they just need to grab him on the saddle, like just eat him. Like somebody distracts the dragon from the front, and somebody comes up from behind it and eats Aemon whole.
Or someone needs to sacrifice their dragon while Vhagar is chomping on that neck. Someone needs to take out a sword, jump over Aemon, and like shove the sword through his eye. Hopefully that won't happen. We'll see what happens. But it's no, that final scene.
You're right that like it's unclear like how, because remember okay, Rhaenyra confronts Adam at the beginning of the episode, and she's like, "Can you follow me to Dragonstone?" He's like, "Yeah, I think so." And it's like he literally just became a dragon rider like 5 minutes ago, and now he's able to steer it that much.
Which makes me wonder, like, I wish they would go into more about how the psychic bond works, and like if controlling a dragon is not really, it's kind of like a mix of riding a horse and also like bonding with it on a psychic level to like get it to do whatever you want. Yeah, no, that final scene where Rhaenyra and all the dragons come together and they all roar as one, that was sick. I fucking love that. Cool. That was so good. And it's just, you know, I liked episode 7. I thought episode 6 was fine. You know, I have my issues here and there, but overall, I feel like the season has been consistently pretty good. I've had my issues here and there, and I feel like everyone else has. The blood and cheese stuff was not done well. Rhaenyra and Alicent meeting, their meeting in episode 3. That was I haven't had I didn't like that. Daemon, episode 6. I feel like it went on one episode too long. Some of the pacing stuff. Some characters really felt like they needed more than 5 minutes of screen time. Rhaena, Alan, all these people. But for the most part, I've been enjoying myself. I'm assuming you have as well.
Yeah, I've been enjoying myself too. I think towards the very, very end of the season, I felt like things were taking a little too long. Like there's pacing problems where, like, Daemon kind of sat on his ass for a couple episodes, and it felt a little redundant, like him having vision after vision. Like, okay, and yeah, like I think the dragon seed thing taking like 3 episodes, because it was the end of episode 5, 6, and then 7. Like, I think that didn't need to take as long. Like, I don't know, like maybe it's just me being impatient where I want the story to get further along, because I was wondering how this season's going to end. Like, if we're going to end with the Battle of the Gullet or something like that. What was going to be our epic final episode battle? And I was a little disappointed where it doesn't seem like we're going to have one, right? It's going to be pushed to next season probably.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't know. I'm a little impatient, fine. I guess.
I mean, we all are on some level, because fuck, man. And look, in regards to the pacing, I feel as I blame HBO for this, because me and Preston have discussed this ad nauseum, and you guys are going to hear it again. HBO has nothing in their lineup that can top Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and even Euphoria. Do you watch Euphoria?
I did, but then it's been gone for like 4 years. How long has Euphoria not been on?
I have no idea.
That's the thing, is the like Euphoria, it was Netflix's big, like, one of their, like, next to Game of Thrones, it was their big, like, flagship TV series that everybody was watching, because I know that, like, just on Twitter, like, everybody would be watching. Yeah, it's the 4th most watched series in HBO behind Game of Thrones, Last of Us, and House of the Dragon. So it was like their big 4, their big 3, like, series. And yeah, it had such a weird, irregular upload schedule for its seasons, because it was like, okay, 2019 first season, 2021 next season, so it's like a year, a little bit over a year, because it's January 2021, so it's a little bit over a year to next season, and then it's February 2022, so which is like another year, and then season 3 has just been in limbo since 2022. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, it's gonna be 5. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5 years before it comes out, because I don't even know if it's gonna come out next year. So it's like weird, and I think it's a mix of like the actors. There's been difficult getting the actors back. I think there was maybe some like controversy with some of the behind the scenes crew or something like that. But it's like really weird, like with Euphoria, where Euphoria was like HBO's big thing, and then like it petered out and has disappeared, and I think it's kind of like culturally irrelevant by 4 years from now, like, because just nothing, they haven't made any more seasons. It's very bizarre. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyways,
that's fucking that's
like,
fucking
it's weird.
crazy.
It's weird to have a 4-year gap. Like, I'm being bad with my math here. 1, 2, 3, 4 at the very least 4-year gap between seasons, because it's just like all the inertia that you had is dissipating. And then for Euphoria, which is like a high school drama, you're having these actors that were in their early 20s, early to mid 20s when it started, when they're playing high schoolers. Now they're going to be like in like their late 20s or 30s, like by the time like the next season. So and I think like they've decided that they're not even going to have it be a high school drama anymore. If they have a season 3, it's going to be them post high school, which is weird. They had all that drama, all that inertia focused in their high school drama, and then now they're going to be adults. Like, they're going to be adults, and all that drama.
Fucking Sydney Sweeney? Isn't that half the show is her naked and someone fucking her?
Yes. Yes. Euphoria is not a perfect show.
I mean, do we really need to wait that long to fuck Sydney Sweeney?
Right. Like, I don't know why, like, this high school drama show, I don't know why it was so difficult to get a third season for it. And apparently they're still doing a third season, but it's in production hell right now. And yeah, and I don't know, considering how the last season ended, which it was just like in crazy territory, like I don't know. Maybe it is a good thing that they're just like, yep, they're gonna be grown up now. I don't know.
Well, other classic shows that really brought a crowd: Barry, Succession, Euphoria. Like that's kind of all done. I don't think I personally think like they're in development hell with season 3. They say they want to go down, but the showrunner and Zendaya both are having like some kind of beef. The showrunner is upset that Zendaya went off to do her own movie franchise, Dune, which, let's be honest, I think a lot of
Challengers and stuff.
Yeah, I think all of the movies she's done have easily made over $100 million. So, and the girl's got to work, and she wants to work. So, yeah. And I think she's upset with him because he went off to do The Idol, which fucking bombed. Everybody hated it. It was like The Weeknd's weird fanfic to fuck Johnny Depp's daughter. Like, HBO just doesn't have anything right now. And anytime they take a gamble...
I looked it up. Filming for Euphoria season 3 is scheduled to begin January 2025. So
Jesus.
It might be another year after that. It might be fucking 5 years
my God.
before like another season. That is insane. Oh my God.
Which is weird because
that's crazy.
If they did less episodes, I guess they could fix this, because Duncan Egg, believe it or not, is filming right now, and they plan on an early next year release. So Duncan Egg is going to have maybe 7-8 months in between starting production and then ending it and releasing it. So it's possible Euphoria could still release in 2025, but fuck, man, does anyone care at this point?
I don't. That's the thing, is I don't think people care. It's been so long, and they're in like the problem is that several actresses are not returning. Like that's just been decided,
right?
And it's apparently gonna focus on Zendaya's, like, see, I don't even remember her character's name because it's been so freaking long.
Isn't it like Rue?
Rue. It's gonna be post college, post high school, her traveling around the world. So you're not even gonna have any of the normal characters, or at least not regularly. So like all the drama that's been built up over the years with all the other supporting cast is just gone. Like it's just weird. I don't know, like all the inertia, all like the build up is just gone. It's very strange. I don't know why you would do this. Yeah, it's probably like a perfect storm. But yeah, it's weird where Euphoria really was like the Game of Thrones of that time, of that brief gap.
It was Game of Thrones for fucking Gen Zers. That's
for teenagers. For teenagers, for Zoomers, and they just dropped the ball. Like that's just what happened. They just straight up dropped the ball, and it's gone now. And now now HBO is back to House of the Dragon, Duncan Egg. I am worried that Game of Thrones is going to turn in, like, it's going to turn, HBO is going to turn Game of Thrones into what Disney has turned into Star Wars. Like, I'm really afraid that we're going to, like, have just, like, way too much Game of Thrones.
I want to have this conversation with you so bad about, like, the Game of Thrones cinematic universe, and how that's them trying to do that as a detriment, because that would involve us talking about the episode 8 leaks, and we're not going to do that. I don't want to do that yet. This is a conversation I would love to have with you and Preston going forward, because, and I want to say this to you right now, I'll type this to you because I don't want to spoil the audience, and look on Discord. This is what I'm afraid of. See that? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm afraid they're gonna fucking like shove that in somehow to every fucking prequel and spinoff they ever do, and I hate that so much. Let it be its own thing. We can have this conversation with Preston when we discuss the entire season 2, but that's what I'm afraid of.
I am very afraid of that as well. Yeah, because it doesn't. I don't know. Like it doesn't need to be, and I think it actually takes away from it. Because like, why does everything need to be linked together? And yeah, I'm just like do your own thing.
Because I know people are gonna get on your dick for this, and let me defend you off the bat right now. Obviously, it's a prequel. It's linked, but at the same time, it can still be its own story and be phenomenal. You don't need to like link it back to every little thing. It's far enough back in the past to where it doesn't need to be like closely linked like that.
Well, and also so it's a prequel, but what it's a prequel to, how it ended is terrible. Like, why would you want it to be linked to the ending of it, of the ending that is universally hated? Like, it is like the ending of Game of Thrones is literally considered one of the worst endings in TV history, in whatever you want to say, in fantasy history, in TV series history, whatever, franchise history. Let's just say franchise history. It's considered one of the worst endings, period,
of all time. Yeah,
I don't think any fans liked it. No fans except Kit Harington and like the
actually,
actors that were involved in it that are like.
Let me defend them, because I think the actress for Marjorie Tyrell, I forget her name, she even came out and said. They were doing an interview with her. I think she was at some kind of college, and they were doing an interview with her. And someone asked her about season 8, and she goes, "Yeah, I don't think it was that good." And I can say that because they don't pay me anymore. So I feel as though the actors and actresses have to have somewhat of a cooked opinion on this, because like maybe it's in their contract for after a couple of years, don't badmouth the show, like wait a little bit. So I think that's what it is, but that's my concern. Well, we can talk about that when we get.
And I get it.
With Preston,
I get it too, where actors want roles, and if you slag off a producer or a writer or something like that, they're gonna get into the network. They're gonna blacklist you, and they're gonna remember that. That's why you don't criticize.
They're gonna remember
the things that you work on most of the time. Even when it is considered one of the worst things ever produced.
It's like a Telltale game. They're gonna remember that. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
They're gonna remember that. Yeah, so like I don't know, we'll talk about it later, but like you're a prequel, but you're a prequel to a series that has one of the most infamous endings that everybody hated. Why do you want to keep reminding people about that ending?
Homie, did you watch my leaked season 8, my leaked episode 8 video that I put out a couple days ago? That's literally what I just said. I literally said the same thing you just said. 110%, you're not wrong. Stop doing that, because you motherfuckers are going to ruin the legacy of it. But you know what? That's beyond the point. But yeah, like I was saying originally, HBO has nothing. They have this. We got Penguin coming up. I don't know if you saw the Batman. I liked it, but the Penguin?
Yeah, Batman's good.
Really?
I don't know if... Yeah. It has to be good. Like, that's the thing is, like, I don't know. I'm not going to watch it unless I hear that it's, like, really, really good. Like, I'm just not...
I'll check it out, but... Did you see they changed the name of the Dune prequel?
Oh, what's it called now?
It was before Dune Sisterhood. Now it's like Dune Prophecy. They changed the Sisterhood because they didn't want they wanted
to hide the people from making it woke, and people would be like woke, sisterhood, lesbian witches. You know what? It's probably related to that stupid Acolyte, the backlash of Acolyte. Like it's probably not.
You know what? I don't blame them for changing it, because look, I get it. You don't want the smoke from the fucking online mob, and it doesn't cost you anything to change it. Like I think one of the main things is sisterhood. How many words is sisterhood? What's that, like 9 words? Like I think you even say no, it's 10 words. I think you save on printing by like changing it from like 10 words to like
it's the Mr. Plinkett.
Plinkett I was just thinking that.
It's like they changed it to save on ink.
Pretty fucking much. So, fuck it. Like, they have nothing. This is what they have. It's Game of Thrones. 100 years, baby. 100 years forever. Game of Thrones.
Oh, God.
Before I end this podcast, I just want to say, I still want that Jon Snow sequel series. I still do.
I do too. A part of me does as well, because why not? Because that's the thing, is the ending of Game of Thrones is so bad, so it's like, why not explore the ending more, to at least, because you might be able to salvage it. Who knows? You might be able to get people to you might be able to. You might be able to show like Arya, well maybe not Arya, but like maybe Jon north of the Wall or something doing some stuff.
Remember my idea.
Grey Worm.
If they do this, they're stealing my idea. Remember, my idea is him going to Essos, to like China or some shit, ancient China, ET, and he has to stop another White Walker threat, but they're like the lava White Walkers or some shit.
He finds a beautiful Yeetish babe. He's like, "Oh, you remind me so much of Ygritte. I don't want it," or whatever he says.
We can get the sequel series, and there's no going down from here because it's all the way down with fucking dinosaur bones. It's all the way up there. It's all the way up.
Oh my gosh, Carmine, he goes to UT, and you know who he finds? He finds young Griff. He finds Fagon, and he's got like the blue hair.
He finds all the characters they left out from the books.
Yeah, he finds Dario. He finds Sweets.
The original Dario
Sweets.
with the blue hair and everything.
Yeah. They bring back who else is like Nimble Dick is there. Like just all the Vargo Hoat. He sees Vargo Hoat.
Ariane Martell. Like he sees everybody. Everyone's there. Yeah, fuck it. Everyone's there. Victarion's there. They're all on Victarion's boat. Fuck,
yes. Because remember, Victarion is canon to the show because he is brought up by Tyrion at one point in like the first season.
Oh yeah,
when he's making fun of
Theon's uncles. Yeah,
because he says my uncles, which I guess could be the Damphair or whatever. But yeah, in the books it's at least Victarion. So maybe they're bringing him back. They're bringing him back, baby.
100 years. Trey, do you mind if we wrap it up here?
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.